Hi, my name is Ren. My topic is about the role of policy network in the educational policy transfer in Taiwan. I use the school as a learning community to be a case to explore the process of policy transfer in Taiwan. There are mainly four purpose in my study. The first one is to explore the policy transfer process of SLC. The second one is to reveal the functions and the types of policy network in the policy transfer process. The third is to explain the key elements which is selected in the transfer for the effect of policy network. And finally, I want to provide some suggestions for our government. There are many theories talking about policy transfer or policy borrowing in comparative educational history. In my research, I discussed this phenomena in a term came from the public administration researches. That is, policy transfer is used to describe the policy which is developed in another jurisdiction, but using as a tool for local policy making. So if we look from the local side, it can be seen as the adoption of the policy from abroad. And in the policy diffusion theory, they also talk about the questions. Many scholars use Kingdom's multi-streams theory to discuss the option of lottery policy in North Carolina. They found that the policy agents may promote the problems, providing key informations about implementation, and even play the roles of policy entrepreneur by themselves during the process of policy transfer. And the other important part in my research is a policy network theory. Policy network can be defined as a coalition accompanying with bureaucracy, policy advocates, and implementators who are linked by their direct and indirect contacts with another. These people are linked through the exchange network, and they can share their resources to each others. About the types of network, Handfield and Chapman in 2009 consider that there may be three basic types of social network. The first one is hub and spoke network. In this network, there is a clear center in the middle. The second one is decentralized network. In this network, there are more middle-range nodes in the network. And the last one is a crystalline network. In this kind of network, all of the members can connect to each others, and it is seen as the ideal type of a type to create a policy transfer. Actually, in the research of Evans and Davis, they compare the traditional policy network theory and the issue network theory, and propose the theory about policy transfer network. The notion is that this kind of a transfer network is unique from the other types. Their membership is very limited, and the interest is affect politicians and bureaucracies. The interaction in the network is frequently and purposely, and they will exchange their resources very in a positive sum game. Following this, I would like to talk about the effect of policy network. Firstly, when facing a stimulus outside, the coupling of local and cross-sector actors may promote the specific policy through the network. Secondly, in the literature of comparative education, like Chris Holm, they highlight the effect of conference or meetings. Through these formal and informal events, people can change opinions and relative ideas, even specific detail about about a policy, and these people, they can become the ideas about knowledge brokers, and they can become agents in the process of policy transfer. Then I want to talk about the school as learning community in Taiwan. Learning community means a place. In the ideas of Professor Sato, means a place where students learn together, teachers learn together, and even the parents learn together through the participation in school reform activities. Basically, Professor Sato pulls all the members in schools into the learning community, and he uses it as a tool to promote education reform. The core of learning community is lesson study circle. From the beginning, the teachers study the specific materials of teaching, and then plan the teaching lesson together. And after that, one of these teacher do the research lessons, and the others participate in the critic lessons activities. And after the class, they reflect the lessons and the students' learning in the lesson study. They promote the idea of teachers' professional learning through this circle. And through open class, teachers could study their learning process and gain feedback from reflection activities, and try to find the solution to make effective learning. Professor Sato called this model of reform as a rational model. It's based on the idea of John Dewey that the education is activities. Then I want to talk about the method I use in this research. Basically, I use qualitative case study approach in my research. The main reason is that I want to explore the types and the effect of policy network through the process tracing. By interviewing the people who are involved in the SLC developing process, I can realize that what actually happened in the transfer process. And I select two cities as an example. The first city is Taipei City. Taipei City is the capital of Taiwan. More than 2 million people crowded in 200 square kilometers land. Taipei City is also the most urbanization area in Taiwan. And the second case, I choose the New Taipei City. New Taipei City is promoted from the Taipei County. Its population is almost twice than Taipei City. However, New Taipei City also has a long coastline and a national park in the jurisdiction. The variation of resources and the population density is quite larger than the Taipei City. And there are 13 participants I select in the research. The selection is slowed purposely and snowball sampling. Each city has 6 participants. They were invited for the role of project managers, the principals involved in the school's pilot project, and the teachers applying SLC in their classroom. Besides, the scholars leading the projects are also invited to participate in the research. The results shows as following. Firstly, some background in SLC shows its effect, like the central government's project 12 years compulsory education reform, and the refining teaching and learning projects since 2006. And these projects provide some subsidiaries for the learning communities to make it real, and the developing of 5+1 matrix building also provide the local governments the possibility for developing their selves education reform projects. And to some degree, the mass media also provide their effect, like the Commonwealth magazine. They publish the books about the SLC and invite the Professor Sato in Taiwan also made the SLC become the hottest educational issues all around the country. Under this situation, New Taipei City started the project in 2011. They changed their original plan to Singapore and visiting in Japan in 2011 January. And after that, they start a principal's SLC seminar group under the supporting of the government. And then they invite Professor Sato come to the New Taipei City and held a great meeting. About 200 principals and teachers participate in. After that, the city government start their pilot school project in 2012. So if we put the composition in the network agents, it will look like this. The round mark means the teachers, the square means the administrators and the principals, the triangle means the scholars. So we can see the schools are separate by geographical location, and there is a few connections between the teachers in different schools, and there is also very highly hierarchied. Contradictory, Taipei City has their own SLC project from the beginning, and after the principals and the scholars visiting to Japan, they decide to promote SLC from in a bottom-up model. The first time meeting is organized by these people spontaneously under the supporting of the government. Meanwhile, in the New Taipei City, they have their own pilot project. After that, with devoting plenty of money, Taipei City sent teachers to Japan and brought back the practical information about how SLC can be worked in the daily classroom life. So the type of network in Taipei City is quite different from the last one. There is lower hierarchy, and the schools are connected by learning communities as scholars. And because to the existing project, the scholars accompanying with schools. That is to say, it's more similar to the types of crystalline network. Consequently, there are many effects caused by the policy network in the transferring process. At the beginning, the problems were defined and to promote it to the agenda. During the process of networking, in the case of SOC, it means both in two cities, the urgency of curriculum and the teaching reform is seen as the most important problems to the teachers and the scholars after they visiting to Japan. Secondly, across sectors agents make contact teachers in the network so they can reconstruct the problems and happening in the daily classroom. Similarly, the network can supply the sense of safety and provide professional advice to schools. Both in Taipei and New Taipei City, the scholars participate in the critical lessons activities. These cross-nation scholars provide the original classroom theme in Japan, and they also engage the problems in the teachers, and they also convince the principals and the teachers it is working when they engage the problems in their daily life. Besides the political reasons, the network also provides specific educational knowledge which can be applied to the daily school activities. In 1987, Schumann Schumann notions about the ideas of pedagogical content knowledge is well known as PCK. The PCK can define as teachers' interpretations and the transformations of subject matter knowledge in the context of facilitating school student learning. During the transferring of SLC, the teachers can use PCK to make sense of the ideas of educational policy in another country and rethink their daily teaching and the educational philosophy. That is what happened in the case of SLC. In traditional policy transfer, research is focused on the policy making process. However, there are some issues are very important about the implementation. In this case, policy network provides some kinds of feedback system to modify the original version of policy. In Taipei City, the cross schools and the districts teacher communities and the virtual communities on the social media sharing the information of open class and they also report the problems about the practical in the daily classroom. In New Taipei City, the feedback of SLC basically rely on the principals and the project managers participate in the SLC. However, the existing network in some degree could block newcomers of SLC in other schools and another districts. Finally, I want to talk about the selective elements in these two cities. In Taipei City, they focus on the study and the plan stage in SLC. So that is because their teachers and the other community members can share the information directly. However, in New Taipei City, the project managers and some of the principals start to take numbers of schools with research lessons as policy outcome. So the teachers began to run away from the project because of the pressure came from the accountability. From this point of view, some scholars who are the advocates in the beginning feel very frustrated to see this situation. In summary, the types of policy network may be different along with natural and political context, and the network may define the problem, provide safety and the value of SLC, and make opportunities for teachers to construct their PCK. According to the conclusion, I will make some suggestions for the government, and the government need to provide extra resources for teachers community developing and the curriculum network building, because they can enhance their power to promote the education reform, and the government itself need to enhance their ability to innovation. And in the local government, it needs more close work to triggering teaching innovation through connections between teachers in each schools. And the feedback system need to take teachers' suggestions into considerations to prevent restrictions for constructing of the practical knowledge. And for further researches, more school-based research can be done to realize the true effect on the site, and the researchers in the field of education policy transfer need more qualitative research to reveal the core of educational policy making and reform. Thank you for attention.